Welcome back to the Making the Madness YouTube channel. Sean back again for another video. This one is on another transfer that announced his transfer destination. Today, it's Jordan Walker from Tulane going to UAB. Last season, Walker averaged 13 a game and 4 assists for the Green Wave before entering the portal a little bit about a month ago. He's going to be a big piece in the Conference USA. For the team I have currently atop the conference, they return a few free-year guys with Mike Ertl coming back. Their leading scorer decided to exercise his extra year of eligibility. Quan Jackson, a really athletic guard who defends at a high level and fits the scheme that Andy Kennedy wants to run perfectly. And then you have some other key returnees like Taven Loven. He was their second leading scorer last year. And Trey Jemison, the former Clemson big man, 7-footer that had some really big games, 7 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, and a couple blocks a game. He could be a double-double threat any night. He's not going to play 30 minutes a game, but when he's on the floor for his 22 or so minutes a game, he's going to make an instant impact for the Blazers. But they've had a really successful offseason, adding a lot of guys from higher levels that are going to impact instantly at the Conference USA level. A guy like KJ Buffin could be a Conference Player of the Year candidate, averaged 8 points per game last year for Ole Miss. A really good forward, had 10 points per game 2 years ago. Buffin brings a lot to the table. He's going to be a key piece for the Blazers next year. And like I said, he's going to be one of the best players in the entire conference. In addition, I like quite a bit that's pretty under the radar because he wasn't a star by any means at South Florida. And South Florida was a little bit up and down, is Justin Brown. He is very talented. He's an athletic guard/wing kind of guy that averaged 8 points per game, shot 36% from deep for the Bulls last season. He'll bring that shooting ability that UAB could really use. He's going to bring that there next year. I could see him shooting close to 40%, being a key piece off the bench or in the starting lineup. Size and shooting paired with his defensive ability is going to make him a very dangerous 3-and-D kind of player for Andy Kennedy and staff next year. And then you also add a guy like Tyreek Lokier, who's coming in from South Alabama. South Alabama is one of the more potent offenses in all of mid-major basketball. They struggled very much on the defensive end, but they could really score the ball. Lokier at 13 a game, 5 rebounds per game, and 3 assists per game. Combo guard, a little undersized at 6 foot 165. But he's able to score off the ball, and he can facilitate the offense, of course. But, you know, his percentages aren't great by any means. 40% from the field, 33% from deep. And a different style offense, and he's not going to have as much on his plate as he did at South Alabama. I think in more of a bench role, Lokier could be a really good player. And he had some really big games for South Alabama. Even if it wasn't scoring-wise, he was able to fill up a lot of different columns. He had 7 assists in multiple games, including in their final game of the season where they lost to Louisiana in the Sun Belt Tournament. He was also able to drop 22 points in a game on 2 different occasions. I think Lokier is a really underrated addition for the Blazers. But when you look at the rest of the conference, of the Conference USA as a whole, it's always a conference where there's a bunch of different teams in the mix for winning the conference. You have Louisiana Tech, who I currently have second. They return Junior Lofton, who really burst onto the scene in the NIT. He's going to be one of the rising sophomores in the country. You also get Isaiah Crawford back, who was really good last year. And you also had Keaston Willis, a transfer from Incarnate Ward. He was a really good scorer and was relatively efficient for a team that was just really, really bad last year. Being able to be somewhat efficient at all in a team that's just not good is pretty impressive, and going on a much better team that returns just about everybody is very, important for Louisiana Tech. You get Kobe Williams back, who suffered a hand injury last year, broke his hand, I believe, or a thumb or something on his hand, where he pretty much played with one hand in the Conference USA tournament, which kind of hindered what his ability was. But Louisiana Tech made it to the NIT and impressed quite a bit. You also had LaDamian Bradford coming in from Texas A&M and David Green coming in from Hofstra. So that's a clear top 2 in the Conference USA in my mind. But UAB, they get a step ahead with their defensive ability. They add a lot of scoring this offseason, which is going to be key. But they didn't just add guys who can score the ball and not defend. They added guys who can do both. But Jordan Walker is going to lead the offense. He's going to likely start at the point guard, making some kind of starting lineup of Jordan Walker, Mike Ertl. You could go Quan Jackson at the 3 if you want to. And then you can go KJ Buffin and Trey Jemison at the 5. But this is a really deep UAB team, and that starting lineup is probably not what it's going to end up being. But then you have guys like Justin Brown who can start if you need him to. There's a lot of options and a lot of different ways you could set the lineup, which makes this UAB team really dangerous next season. Part of the reason why I have them in this position, but the Blazers are in for a big year. They were impressive in year 1 under Andy Kennedy. I think the offense is going to be really solid this year. The defense is going to continue being as good as it was. And, the Conference USA is always a conference that's up for grabs, but UAB looks to be the clear favorite at this point with their transfer additions and returnees. Definitely like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Much more to come, including more on mid-major teams, because that's one of the things I like following the most about college basketball. There's so many different teams and so many different breakout teams to watch every season that just fall under the radar because they're in a smaller conference. But like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and until next time, have a good one.